Hello everyone, welcome to this chapter. In this chapter, we would be discussing about the strategic management. These are the learning outcomes that we would be discussing, and there comes the strategic management. What managers do to develop an organization's strategy is called a strategic management. Now here comes the question first, why managers need strategy? Strategies are the decisions and actions that determine the long-term performance of an organization. Since there are so many other organizations that are taking good decisions, and being in the same industry, you might be facing rivalries because you have other industries or organizations selling the same product or providing the same service. So you need a strategy that gives value or adds value and uniqueness to your product or service. Business model basically focuses on two things: whether customers will value what the company is providing, that is, would the customers will be happy with the uniqueness or the value added in your product, which is different from the competitor, whether the company can make any money doing that, does that activity has enough margin of earning money. What is strategic management important? Why it is? It results in high organizational performance. It requires that managers examine and adapt to new business environment changes. It coordinates diverse organizational units, that is, different uh, departments of any organization, helping them focus on organizational goals, that is, integrating those departments and ultimately achieving the goals. This is the graphical presentation of the strategic management process. It starts with identifying the organization's current mission, goals, and strategies, and then the SWOT analysis, external analysis, opportunities and threats, while the internal analysis include the strengths and weaknesses of your company, and then formulate the strategy to cover up the weaknesses or uh, you know capitalizing over the opportunities depending on the current situation or the proper direction of the company, and then implement the strategy. Finally evaluate the results, that how the strategy did work in the market. The strategic management process is here described step by step, identifying the organization's current missions and goals and strategies. Basically, here we identify what are we going to do and how we are going to do, and ultimately how uh, these steps will help us at achieving our goal. First is a mission statement. It is a statement of the purposes or the purpose of an organization. The scope of its products and services is declared there. Those are the foundations for further planning. There are measurable performance targets. That is, that is, task one or particular goals are achieved and they are quantified, measurable, so that we can see where the organization stands. Step two is doing an external analysis. The environmental scanning of a specific general environment is the external analysis, because basically it focuses on identifying the opportunities and the threats in terms of competitors. What opportunities do we have, how we can capitalize, and how we can produce more good products, and how we can add value, and therefore so that the opportunities can be capitalized. Whereas we can an analysis in external analysis, we have to see what external threats in terms of competitors or rivals do exist in the market. Are the components of a mission statement, including customers, which we would be targeting, markets where we want to launch our product or service, concern for similarly survival, growth, and profitability, philosophy, what are the firm's basic beliefs, values, ethical priorities, concerns for public image, products or services, technology of the firm, and self-concept. What are the firm's major competitive advantages and core competencies? current concern for employees. Are employees a valuable asset for the firm or not? So these were the components of mission statement. A strategic management process continues with a third step, that is doing an internal analysis in which the weaknesses are being evaluated, assessing organizational resources, capabilities, and activities. Strengths create value for customers and strengthen the competitive position of the firm in terms of competitors or the rivals. The more strengthened values you can offer to the customers is much better. Weaknesses can place the firm at a competitive disadvantage. The more weaknesses that your organization possess, the more competitors can capitalize on that weakness and can uh, you know gather or capture your market share in the market. Analyzing financial and physical assets is fairly easy, but assessing intangible assets like employee skill, are you a human resource capable of doing what it is needed, and the culture, are they are formal or informal, or are they supportive in terms of achieving the goals, corporate reputation in the market, and so forth and so forth, so far. That isn't as easy as it's considered. So step 2 and 3 are combined and known as SWOT analysis, that is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat analysis. The fourth is formulating the strategy, as we saw in the diagrammatical presentation. Develop and evaluate strategic alternatives that might be possible or good for the business. Select one of those strategies as the appropriate one for all levels in the organization that provide relative advantage over competitors. That is, by applying those strategic uh, developments or alternatives, will give an upper end or upper edge over your competitors. Maybe it could be the new human resource policies or adopting technology in terms of human resource that might give advantage in terms of uh, human resource development, overall competitive skills, which might be profitable or uh, advantageous from your competitors. Match the organizational strengths to the environment opportunities. And this skilled labor force or the workforce or the employees might be used to capitalize over the opportunities that are existing in the market. Correct weaknesses and guard against threats. Of course, your weaknesses are the opportunities for others, whereas your weaknesses might offer or serve as threats for your organization. So we have to have a good, understanding of our weaknesses, and on priority basis must be dealt with. So the threats are minimized. Further, implementing these strategies. Implementation involves effectively fitting organizational structure and activities to the environment. The environment dictates the chosen strategy. Effective strategy implementation requires an organizational structure matched to its requirements. So whatever strategy you adopt, you must have a perfect implementation of the same strategy. Otherwise, your SWOT analysis would not serve the purpose. In other words, whatever you have analyzed in your as an opportunity, weakness, threat, or the strength of your company, and the plan that you have or the strategy you have developed, if not executed and implemented properly, it would all be wasted. Step 6 is evaluating results. How effective you have made the strategy, and how effectively implemented, and how effective that strategy resulted in. What adjustments further, if any, required are necessary. Here, the types of organizational strategies are represented in a pictorial way. At the corporate level, the strategies are built on a multi-business corporation level, whereas at competitive level, these strategies are built on business unit levels. At functional level, the same strategy might serve in a different way, and It might serve to different departments or different segments of the same firm. Now here we can see it in a descriptive form. The corporate strategies, that is the top management's overall plan for the entire organization and its strategic business units that are further, these are the further departments. Types of corporate strategies include growth, that is the expansion into new products in the market; stability, that is the maintaining of the same status quo where it exists and keeps the process continued; while the renewal is the examination of the organizational weaknesses that are leading to performance decline, so we have to fix it. In detail, growth strategies seeking to increase the organization's business by expansion into new products and markets. Types of growth strategies might include concentration, vertical integration, horizontal integration, diversification. Let's see them in detail. Concentration is a focusing on primary line of business and increasing the number of products offered or markets served. That is, whatever your company is providing in terms of products or services, you try to enhance or increase the variety in the same product line. For example, if a company is making soaps, so it offers different range of soaps: small, medium, large, fragmented, and other similar properties can be added to the other product. While as in vertical integration, it includes the backward vertical integration and attempt to gain the control of inputs, become a self-supplier. Wherever the organization exists, it must need the raw material. So vertical goes upward. If you are moving backward, it means you are moving to the raw material. If you are moving forward, that is downwards, you are moving uh, towards the finished products. So if you are moving backwards and you are making proficient yourself in the vertical integration, it means you want to become the primary source of your business process and finished products as well. Here we can see the forward vertical integration is attempting to gain control of output through control of the distribution channels or provide customer services directly and perform these activities, eliminating any sort of intermediaries. That is, you might be ordering some product from a firm and the firm has their own riders or the providers of that particular product that you have offered instead of buying it from a third party or delivery agents. In the horizontal integration is a combination of operations with another competitor in the same industry to increase the competitive strengths and lower the competition among industry rivals. That is, if you are a car manufacturer, then you might also be involved in the electrical components that are utilized in the market or in the car manufacturing process. Similarly, there is related diversification, expanding by combining with the firms in different but related industries that are strategic fit for your organization. And the last is unrelated diversification, growing by combining with firms that are unrelated to in industries where higher financial returns are possible. In related diversification and unrelated diversification might be taken as uh, your firm is combining with a different firm, that is the might be if you are belonging to a automobile industry or car manufacturing firm, you might also be including or integrating with a firm that is producing the headlights and other components or the plastic components of a car, where its unrelated diversification involves the brands or the other things that are included in the car, let's say the tires. So you can also integrate with the tire manufacturing company so that your business can grow and expand at a multi-level stage. Stability strategy includes a strategy that seeks to maintain the status quo to deal with uncertainty of a dynamic environment. That is, you lock yourself at a good position. When the industry is experiencing slow or no growth conditions, or if the owners of the firms elect not to grow for the personal reasons, that in other words, you are simply making yourself stay wherever you are or wherever your business is in the market, you keep up with the same position. So now the renewal strategies involve developing the strategies to counter organization weaknesses that are leading to performance decline. It includes two things: retrenchment, focusing on eliminating non-critical weaknesses and restoring the strengths to overcome current performance problems. The second is turnaround, addressing critical long-term performance problems through the use of strong cost elimination measures and large-scale organizational restructuring solutions. In simple words, renewal strategies involve all those activities or all those strategies development process steps that are focused on short-term, that is retrenchment, and the long-term weaknesses fixation of the organization, that is the turnaround concept. Corporate portfolio analysis. Managers manage portfolio or collection of business using a corporate portfolio matrix such as the BCG matrix. It was developed by Boston Consulting Group. Since the organizations need to manage their portfolio and want to invest in those products which are more profitable and want to eliminate those products or the services that are not much profitable. So Boston Consulting Group developed a matrix that gives more clear picture to the firms and the companies or the organizations are utilizing this BCG matrix to make their decisions more easy and have a vivid picture of the environment and products. It considers market share and industry growth. It classifies firms as cash cows, that is, investing in those products or services which have low growth rate but higher market share. The stars include high growth rate, high market share. Question question marks include high growth rate but low market share. These basically are in terms of products or services. Dots are those products and services which have low growth rate but low market share as well. Let's see them in this picture, which is self-explanatory. The firms are interested to invest in those products or services which have high market share and are also growing faster than the other products. Such, for example, you are well established and these are fantastic opportunities, that is, investing into stocks. Similarly, the firms have low market share or products have low market share and low market growth, so maybe your market presence is weak and it's going to be difficult to make a profit from it, since the organization's main purpose is to maximize the profit. If the product is not giving you more profit, it means it must be liquidated. So we can see here the BCG matrix is basically helping out the organization to make a good strategies. Concept includes a strategy focused on how an organization will compete in each of its strategic business units. It might be highly skilled human resource, or it might include high skilled or high performance management that related to sales. The role of competitive advantages is a competitive advantage is an organization's distinctive competitive edge. So, so the role of competitive advantage basically is an organization's distinctive competitive edge over the competitors. Quality as a competitive advantage differentiates the firms from its competitors, can create a sustainable competitive advantage, and represents the company's focus on quality management to achieve continuous improvement and meet customers' demand for quality. The sustainable competitive advantage is the continuing over time to effectively exploit resources and develop core competencies that enable an organization to keep its edge over its industry competitors. In simple words, sustainable competitive advantage is for a longer period of time, your firm is good enough to keep up and have an edge over the competitors in terms of your sales force that we discussed earlier, or your human resource management skills, or your supply chain management that is advantageous or have more powerful skills and are quite um, closely integrated with each other so the your competitors cannot copy any of your moves. Porter's presentation includes the five forces model of Porter. According to Porter, or according to this model, the five factors are necessary to be considered by any organization. New entrants are, of course, the threat, but in those markets, the new entrants might be difficult where the large companies or firms are already existing. For new entrants, they need to invest in a large amount to enter in the market. So therefore, they would definitely be moving to the local market instead of beating the brands. For example, Puma, Adidas, and Nike might also be interested to move the to get more for less. So these might also be considered. Similarly, suppliers are in opposite. Suppliers are ready to give less for more. So maybe they also be using that strategy or that position against your business. So these also might be considered. Whereas the substitutes are the threats for your business as well. Take an example of airlines and the new concept of hyperloop railway traveling, which is the uh, train traveling in a vacuum, which is much faster and at higher speed. They can travel from one place to another place. Similarly, the aeroplanes might fly. So therefore, the substitute of new concept of traveling through the railways is a substitute for the airlines. And of course, the intensity of rivalry among current competitors might increase. So five competitive forces are described here. Traits of new entrants is the ease or difficulty with which new competitors can enter an industry. The threat of substitutes is the extent to which switching costs and brand loyalty affect the likelihood of customers adopting to substitute products and services. In uh, in terms of they might be preferring uh, the other products or services over the existing organization. The next is bargaining power of buyers, the degree to which a buyers have the market strength to hold sway over and influence competitors, and then buyers to suppliers and threats from substitutes and new entrants affect the buyer-supplier relationship. So it must also be considered and works as a force in terms of competitive advantage. Intensity among rivals increases when industry growth rates are slow and demand falls and product prices descend. In other sense, the lower is the growth rate and the lower is the demand for the product or supply or the services, and the product prices are also declining. It means your product might be sold at a higher price, and the margin rate is already decreased because of the slow growth rate and reduced prices and demand of the product. So, which is called the first mover, those who initiate any product or service in the market to avail the competitive edge. Advantages are, of course, reputation for being innovative and industry leader, cost, and learning benefits. You might be including lower costs because you would be the beginner and you might be experiencing and learning from the experiences that are occurring within the transition of the occurring of the business. Control over scarce resources and keeping competitors from having access to them. You might be the first one to capture all the opportunities and resources that are available. Further, it has an advantage, that is the opportunity to building customer relationships and customer loyalty. Whereas, so on the disadvantages side, uncertainty over exact direction technology might also be faced. In the market might go or will go, of course, after that one. The risk of competitors imitating innovation. Of course, when you initiate something, the the imitation is quite easy. It's it's quite hard to be a leader than just a follower. Financial and strategic risks are also associated with this being first mover. Being first mover, of course, gives you a big advantage, but it might also cost the financial since first mover gives a good advantage, but in terms of financial and making a strategic plan might also fail. So it also gives a financial and strategic risk. It also includes uh, higher developmental costs. You might be purchasing new technology. You might be giving more trainings in terms of adopting new technology, policies or practices. So therefore, it may also involve higher costs. So this brings us to the end of this chapter, and these are the terms that were covered at the end. Thank you.